All that with just EQ pedals. Hey folks, I'm Dagan, and today I'm here to tell you 5 reasons why you need an EQ pedal in your life. It's just that little bit of secret sauce, that little bit of extra seasoning that a lot of guitar players utilize to get their signature sound. But most importantly, with said secret sauce, you control the ratio to, I was going to make a food analogy, the sauce ratio to the dish that is your guitar tone, if that makes any sense. But yeah, a lot of guitar players have these hidden away in the back of guitar racks. Think of all the old school 80s racks with loads of EQ controls on and whatnot. They're not just plugged directly into a Marshall or a Vox or whatever. There's always EQ hidden somewhere. And on the surface, they're pretty boring pedals. Just EQs your tone. Your amp's got EQ in, your pedals have EQ in. Why on earth do you need an EQ pedal? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you 5 reasons why. Obviously, the first one is you get to manipulate and get your own signature sound, but they do so much more than that. Now, if you are new to the world of EQ or EQ pedals and the rest, EQ stands for equalization. Now, in this lovely world that we live in, there's loads of audio frequencies flying around absolutely everywhere, all around us. And the human ear can only pick up between 20 Hertz and 20,000 Hertz. That's 20 kilohertz. What these pedals allow you to do with these nifty little sliders is manipulate the EQ or frequencies already inherent in your guitar setup. But not only that, they allow you to boost or cut them. These MXR ones are a fine example of my favorite pedals, my favorite EQ pedals around. They're notched in the middle, so you can boost or cut any of these frequencies. On the 10 band, it's boost or cut by 12 dB, and it's 18 dB on the 6 band. Quickly touching more on these pedals and my signal chain today. Use my SG, straight into the 6 band, then going into the 10 band, then into my Marshall JVM, which is running just like that. But I've always been a huge fan of the MXR pedals because Eddie Van Halen used them, Dimebag Darrell used them, and the easiest way to just it allows you so much more accurate tone shaping than what you get with a regular 3-band EQ or resonance and presence on the front of an amplifier. And these MXR ones have an extremely low noise floor. The old ones back in the day, like I had an original 80s one of this, the blue one, it was quite noisy when you turned it off. Everyone used it, but it was quite noisy when it was on. MXR fixed that here in 2025 with super quiet EQ pedals. And as always, thanks to today's video sponsor and indeed this channel sponsor, you can get these gorgeous little devices as well as the rest of the gear I'm using in the description box down below, thanks to the fine folk at Andertons. Now, Andertons do so much more than just EQ pedals. We all know they're the biggest and best music store on the entire planet, both in person and on the internet, so I'll put my entire rig in the description box down below, as well as more affordable alternatives to the guitars I'm using, the amps I'm using. But these guys aren't a lot of money, and what they can do to your tone, besides make it your own, is really make you stand out, whether that be tonally or in a mix, if that makes sense. And you can put them in a couple of different places in your signal chain. And the way I've got them running today is straight into the front of the amplifier, as you would run a distortion pedal or an overdrive pedal or stuff like that. But you can also put them in the effects loop and manipulate the tone that way. When you go into the front, you're obviously affecting the input of the amplifier, what the amplifier is hearing and feeling for the first time, from your lovely fingers through the EQ pedals into your amp. And that's the way I see these guys utilized most of the time. I'll talk about the effects loop in a second, but when they go into the front of the amplifier, it's basically the best way to manipulate the sound in a more visceral way. like you're pushing the front end of the amplifier, because the way an amplifier is built is the input, the tone stage, where the tone comes from, so you're hitting that, effects loop, power amp. You put these in the power amp, in the effects loop of your amplifier, it goes after the tone stage, so it's not actually affecting the tone of your amp. What's hitting your amplifier, that's all crafted from the front end of the amp, the effects loop's after that. So what you're doing afterwards is shaping the tone as a whole, so you're not I hope this is making sense. So it's as if you've recorded something into your computer with your amplifier, all well and good, then you put an EQ post all that, and then manipulate it that way before it hits the power stage, goes into the cab, and then into your lugs. So 2 ways you can run it. I like running them into the front because you hear the most awesome visceral difference, so that's how I'm running it today. Now the first reason why I think you need an EQ pedal in your guitar playing life is the reason I've been harping on about throughout the intro to this video, and that's because it allows you to have your own signature sound. You can sculpt your own tone way more so than you can do with your regular amplifier with 3-band EQ and the resonance and presence controls. These allow you to actually sweep and boost the frequencies of your guitar tone. The specific frequencies, I should say. Obviously bass, middle and treble are frequencies. The 6-band is pretty much just the inner bit, the inner frequencies of the 10-band. It goes from 100 to 3.2, whereas the 10 goes from 31.25 to 16K. So that's quite a... Having a bit of fun now. Well, that is part of the fun, just experimenting. You can't break anything, and that's why a lot of, like I said, our guitar heroes, whether it be Billy Gibbons, Eddie Van Halen, Dimebag Darrell, experiment with EQ pedals, mess with things, turn things down, pull things up to get their own signature sound. And I must say with the 10-band as well, it's got its own independent volume and gain control, so you could really home in what's either hitting the front of your amplifier or what you're affecting in the effects loop post tone stack of your amp. Now of course there's nothing wrong if you like the regular sound of your amplifier, but if you're a tweaker like me and you like tweaking pedals and crafting something quite different, perfect way to do it. Also with that, if you have the sound that you like through your amplifier and you're in a live situation or a rehearsal room or in a venue where it doesn't sound quite right, whether using a different cabinet or just the overall room sounds a bit different, or even if you want to poke through the mix a little bit more, 6-band or 10-band, 6-band, like I say, is the middle part of the 10-band, and that's where the guitar sits, the actual guitar sits in your ear, the mid-range. So have a mess with the mid-range, totally different to turning up the mids on your amplifier. That affects way more than just the certain frequencies. That's a bit intense, sounds like a wah. And besides the front of your amp getting pushed a bit more because of the plus 18 dB in this case with the 6-band, your overall tone hasn't really been changed like it will with an overdrive or something like that. Essentially, it's either 6 or 10 tiny little clean boosts or cuts for each specific frequency. What's not to have? Why doesn't every guitar player have one of these? Even just for a just-in-case pedal, besides all the other cool stuff that I'm going to talk about. Now, reason number 2, right here, is these can give your amplifier a second channel. I know I've got a few channels on this JVM, but say you have a single channel amplifier and you need a boost. If you put this in the effects loop and do this, it'll give you a volume boost, but if you put it in the front, it's boosting all the frequencies right there. Everything's just boosted. There's my little... I'm not peeking or anything because that's getting pretty intense. So you can boost your amp for a third channel, almost. And like I showed off at the start, you put everything down the way. That cuts everything in the 6-band sense of 18 dB. Gives you a clean channel. It's like turning the volume down on your guitar or using a volume pedal. But SGs are quite hard to get, hard to reach, so... EQ pedal will add either a boost channel to your amplifier or a clean channel, whichever your heart desires. Now next up, reason 3 is a bit more fun. You're not really using it to shape your tone, you're using them to get fun effects out of. Like, you ever heard like a radio effect or a lo-fi effect with a guitar? Either live or in the studio. That's one fun technique. The other is boosting the low end. Now I know Queens of the Stone Age are very partial to rocking these kind of pedals with all the bass 3 of a 6-band are up. Faux fuzz effect almost, but the integrity of the original tone is still there. Next up is something that I can't really show you on YouTube because YouTube compresses everything that you put on it. But I've seen these utilized and I've done it in the past. You use them to balance guitars live. Like personally, I go from single coil sometimes to regular SGs to heavy metal guitars with high output pickups in, and your amp changes volume and changes dynamics. The dynamics are obviously there for a purpose, that's why you're playing said guitar. But the volume dip and stuff and the certain frequencies that alter that you might not be too keen on in the application in which you're playing it, EQ pedals are used tremendously throughout the world to balance guitars when you change them during sets. Studio, it's a different matter, but definitely more of a live thing. It allows you to just get a grasp on what's happening. I say you get a grasp, I mean you and the person doing sound get a grasp and get a nice even level tone coming out when you switch guitars live. And just for reference, while I'm setting up for the next and final point, I've just plugged this guitar in. This Schecter Syngates pickup is so much louder through the Marshall than the SG was. It's crazy, and you'd use that in this sense to either bring this down or push the SG up through the rest of the set. Anyways, why am I playing this guitar? I'm playing it because I play it live, and the last point I want to make with the EQ pedals is the fact that you can actually get rid of feedback with EQ pedals with no need for a noise gate. And now, just like magic, I'm playing this guitar because I've just snapped a string on that guitar, but they are the same guitar with the same bridge pickup in. And when I'm playing it live, there's a very specific frequency when I use high gain. That one right there. That's like a magic trick. Still there a little bit, obviously, but compared to this might get rid of it all. I mean, they're bloody amazing things. Like I say, link in the description box down below are all the links you can get yourself an EQ pedal from the fine folk at Andertons. Let me know if you use one and how you utilize it in the front of the amp, in the back of the amp. I love knowing these kind of things, so please share it down below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and please hit subscribe. I've been Dagan. I'll see you next time.